were not easy. We had the pandemic and many other challenges, and yet we've been able to bring good results. I think that the great message here is collaboration. Collaboration of those on the ground articulating the communication so that this project is very recognized and praised all around the world. It's a great satisfaction to us, and we're going to have this quick introduction of those participating in this panel, and then I'm going to reproduce the video so that we can share with those who don't know the project so that they can interact with us. That's it. Thank you. Maurício, you may play the video. I'm Maurício Bianco. I'm the Vice President of the Government Secretariat of Environmental Development. Hello, I'm André Peliciotti. I am the Special Projects Coordinator in the Secretariat of Environment at Acre. Good morning, everyone. I'm Luiz Ednelson. I'm the technician of the Secretariat of Environment at Pará. Maximira Costa. I am the Director of Geotechnology and in the State Secretary of Environment and Sustainability in Pará.
O manejo até antes do entreposto
The
das
management before the Asproque freezer was something that we did very carefully, but we didn't know what would be the final result. We didn't know if the fish would be rotten, but now you do that with this total security. It's different producing than trading. Asproque is the Rural Producer Association in the municipality of Caruaru with this objective of trading the production of the members. Work changed. We had this rustic production with white wood, and the management was very difficult, but now it's much easier. We are able to produce the seedlings with the best quality. It's a structure that we are going to use for producing seedling for trees and for the garden, and we're going to have many different functions for that. When we arrived, the public policies were far from the population in this region. Everything we do on the ground, what we are planting again, planting the forest. This is for the world.
Nessa gestão integrada do território, enfim.
So we did this integrated management of the territory, impacting the lives of the people there, and also dialoguing with the world framework. So I would like to invite you to talk about this dialogue because it's very important for the project and for the agenda. Thank you, Rafael. Good morning, everyone. It's important to mention that a work group was created, and it's important to say that it had a very meaningful leadership from the Ministry of Environment, and this work group is comprised not only by the Ministry of Environment, but also ICMBio and the Amazonas, Pará, Acre, and Rondônia states. And as João Rafael just said, the intention we have works, but also structuring the restoring chain from the regional perspective to the Amazon. So when we observe the restoration in this format that goes beyond the environmental benefit, observing also the socioeconomical impact, generating jobs and income, especially with restoration, I think this is the great difference. This is the perspective of the states, especially. And it's important to mention that when this group is together, working together, we have many public policies at the table. So they could come from the state. And what we mean with this group is to have this greater integration and this exchange between experiences from different states. And and this is food for thought for the states, is that clearly you should use the restoration initiative so that we can increase the impact. We know we have the Alliance for Restoration of the Amazon with the civil, with the civil society, actors from the public and private sector. So it's important to have this common perspective with all restoration activities in the different states. So I'm going to end like now because we're going to listen from the route that was designed by the 4 states in this logics to implement the restoration in different states, right? Thank you, Mauricio. Now I'd like to invite the state of Amazonas so they can share. Good morning again. I'm kind of lost in terms of time. João Rafael, thank you. I'd like to thank the Ministry of Environment for the commitment with the states using the ASL resources to us. And one of the greatest programs that the states are implementing that is key for the results that we are delivering, especially the consolidation of data that are supporting and confirming the reduction of deforestation in areas where the projects are being implemented. So this is a positive impact data, which is very important. So I'd like you to show the slides from the state of Amazonas. This is the question we ask concerning the ASL project. The state of Amazonas, and I always remember you that it's over 1.5 million square kilometers, and 97% of all the natural coverage is conserved. and 96% are only forests. Excluding all the other natural ecosystems, 97% are conservated forests. It's a territory with more than half of its area with some degree of protection, either due to indigenous land, federal protection lands, state protected lands, municipal protected lands, and of course, one of the main features that is uniting us, besides the standing forest in this natural resources, is urgent to maintain the people who take care of the forest so that they can have a better quality of life. This is interesting to mention because sometimes people talk about increasing the deforestation in the state of the Amazonas, but they do that rightly so. I'm not trying to diminish the complexity or the problem, but the deforestation areas are concentrated in the south of the state of Amazonas. So the first thing we say is that 95% of these areas with deforestation warnings, they are concentrated in the south of the state. We have 200 environmental issues. This is the first issue we should consider. It has to do with issues related to economic development, strategic planning that Brazil has concerning the productive capacity based on commodities, and this huge period of this the industrialization that we are experiencing. So we must consider all the elements. And one important piece of data is that most of the warnings we have are concentrated in the south of the state and also in federal and conservation units, and state conservation units are the areas with the least pressures. So the environmental impacts and, and also in order to generate income to the populations who are protecting the forest. So these are the different work lines. I'd like to thank Secretary Fabricia Arruda, who is here. She is responsible for conducting the project. Stand up, Fabricia. She came in her sneakers, so she's ashamed. But Fabricia is supporting the technical team in implementing this project. I am really grateful for her work. This is the the ASL. SEMA is participating with SEMAP in Acre, SEDAN, CMBio, and the Ministry of Environment. These are the work lines with the assisted natural generation, recovering 50 hectares of degraded areas, engaging the regulation of the rural properties in the active restoration, identifying the priority areas for restoring that with the diagnosis of potential areas. This is something that we've been doing with the rural technical assistant body and also with the environmental regulation of the properties. This is a great challenge for the state. I won't delve into details, but in our state, the goal is 50 hectares recovered, and we had investments to recover 116 hectares using the state program called Amazonas Mais Verde, Greener Amazonas. So we doubled the goal with the And through the committee, we are finding new ways. The challenges we have concerning the reduction of deforestation, the main source of emissions in the Brazilian government, and the ability to recover the ecosystem. This is key for us to maintain the targets at our NDC. Our target established in the state of Amazonas was reducing the emissions in 19 million tons of car, 209 in reality, and it's very hard to do so, but with this coordinated action, see a reduction in this curve and the recovery. And this is important because up to this moment, recovering was not an agenda for the state of Amazonas. These are some of the challenges, and due to the time I asked to advance, and these are the opportunities. The forest restoration is one of the main technologies to remove carbon from the atmosphere. So the RED projects are key to help us here. It's optimizing the use of land. In the Amazon forest, we have a liability that is estimated in 8 million hectares, and 5 million hectares can be restored. So the difference can be compensated through mechanisms according to the ASL. Something that is important in this project that we have
não só nas atividades da restauração, como também a gente depois pode falar nas unidades de conservação, os acordos de pesca, todas as atividades voltadas para atuação e melhoria das cadeias produtivas, e é uma coisa que nós temos aferido. Todas as unidades de conservação, que as atividades econômicas sustentáveis, elas ganham escala, o desmatamento reduz. Então, além de comando e controle, é urgente que a gente identifique que o melhor mecanismo de combater o desmatamento na Amazônia é criando alternativas econômicas viáveis para contrapor a pressões econômicas dentro dessas áreas. E o ACL tem demonstrado esses resultados e tem traçado.
Obrigado, secretário Eduardo. Gostaria de convidar agora o coordenador de projetos especiais do CEMAP Acre, o André Peliciotti, para contar para a gente também como que o projeto atua na região.
Bom, mais uma vez, boa tarde a
So he
todos.
could tell us how the project is working in the region.
it's a satisfaction.
Now we're going to talk about how we are developing these actions in the state of Acre. 8 minutes is very little, so we try to summarize our presentation. We brought some actions that we are developing in the Department of the Environment in Acre with the support of ASL. We are development for the forest recomposition, starting the projects in the areas where we have identified more deforestation in some municipalities. And we have also included as a guideline that the forest recomposition should be linked to opportunities for the family farmers to develop new production chains. We have brought this agenda since the beginning to promote a fostering environment in the restoration chain. So we brought this as a project We included this in the strategy. Basically, we work with the small family farmers. The Department of the Environment can support these small family farmers with these projects. This is our target audience in the state. We have some forest seeds for the plants that are used in those systems. We have this install capacity of 1 million seedlings a year. With the forest systems that ASL is supporting, we're going to develop also a monitoring module of the program. We're going to develop a module that is going to be included in SICA so that we can do the monitoring of all Branco. This is the municipality of Capixaba. This project is funded by another financial institution, but is the same model as ASL. This is in a later stage of development. This is an example of how we are carrying out this policy for those family farmers that are carrying out the PRA. And this is to show how we can scale up this project in the Amazon. These are the main challenges that I see in the field, working with these people in these communities. The main challenge is the adhesion to the PRA. Some family farmers have some restrictions. We work with 10% adhesion. So on the get-go, we cannot get to recognize that environmental liability. So in that recognition, sometimes the family farmers don't want to advance more. They see the obligation, and they don't want to advance with the obligation. Sometimes they don't have access to communication. As opportunities, I see here the payment for environmental services and the bioeconomy, of course. These are agroforest products from the Amazon. And this is how we select those areas. I see here some state forests from Acre. We selected the target audience. These are some areas close to the road. After the products are ready, you continue with the development projects. We select then the ones that are interested in adhering to the program, and these are going to be the beneficiaries who are going to receive the investment from the project. They are going to prepare the area. They're going to plant the agroforest systems in the areas of legal reserves. So those plants then are planted in the areas that are selected. We did an extra official launch, but this is the catalog that we developed in Acre for those projects. We did this publication. If you want to download, it is in the website of the Environmental Secretariat. This is the QR code. We use this arrangement for the implementation of the project. We approach those family farmers arrangements they can choose from. This is the modeling process that we developed to implement those systems over there. We did the work of research. We run the financial and economic analysis to each one of those arrangements, so they are all economically viable. We cannot offer a system that will not bring any economic return. So we did the economic viability research. It's called Amazon SAF. There's an app for analysis in agroforest systems. We use that database. These are some photos of dedicated to this greenhouse. All of this analysis is carried out so that we can move forward to the program and we can implement this project. This is our SAF catalog. This is the SAF model that has as components acai, banana, coffee, and some forest species. This is the arrangement that is being demanded over there, and this is the arrangement in the field. We did the analyses, we ran the program, and now we are in the planting and conduction stages. This is an area that we visited. This family farmer started planting pepper as well. Company, and he started this planting model in his own area. So we are including a model of planting, and this planting is going to bring a financial return to this family farmer. I'm sorry for being fast here, but I am here at your disposal for questions afterwards. Thank you, André. I'm going to invite the state of Rondônia, who is going to tell us about the experiences in the state. Good morning, everyone. I'm the coordinator of the conservation unit in Rondônia, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the ACL model and some and 37,000 square kilometers, and it was occupied by agricultural crops. It is an agricultural state. It's considered an agricultural state, but it has the challenge of sustainability nowadays. We have 139,000 properties of up to 4 tax modules. From them, 95% are registered. I'm going to take the link of what the Secretary of Amazonas said related to the economic feasibility. The with this issue more clearly. Rondônia today has a few conservation units where we can work with land regularization in conservation units. So within our planning, we prioritized working with land regularization, and with CAR, we worked also with the surrounding of those properties. We worked with bioeconomy, land guarantee of the conservation units. We have a partnership in the state with the Brazilian Army, where they did the georeferencing of 3 very big conservation unit. This is just an explanation of what is CAR, the implementation of some of the analysis and the improvements that the CAR can bring to the landowner. It enables rural credits, funding, the recovery of some degraded areas, and as a counterpart, we gain some forest areas. Within the ASL program, it's important to highlight the products that we gain as a state of Rondônia. We've gained some automobiles, some drones, computers, and these devices are being used for the registration and follow-up As the Secretary said, we're potentializing our bioeconomy. For me, this is the big product that ASL brings. In parallel to the rural properties, we are working directly with the native communities. We are giving them income and work. In ASL, we have a term of reference that includes the production chain of the chestnut, and we have to the extraction workers were working on the sales of chestnuts, and we're still working on the sales of chestnuts, but in a different way. This is a product that shows what we want to get to. We want to get to 40,000 properties registered. This is a challenge for us. 16,000 of them are going to be registered by ASL. We hired by the state 25 technicians. This is the state of Rondônia, and the land challenge of the conservation units. In restoration, we have at least 3 conservation units. We're going to guarantee at least the feasibility of the land regularization for the property unit owners.
Na cooperação da zona de amortecimento de todas essas unidades a quais a gente priorizou para fazer
We're going to prioritize our work in those 3 conservation units. The challenges are very similar to the BRADAs. The adhesion is still very low, but I think with all the support, all the work, and all the hiring that the state of Rondônia did, we have 25 professionals. We have a partnership with the private initiative to follow up some of the work, and we hope to get to this goal soon. Thank you very much. Thank you, José. Now we're moving on to the state of Pará, and I invite Rodolfo Bastos, Subsecretary of Environment of the state of Pará, to share with us some results and challenges of the project. I would like to thank first project, and to represent the state of Pará, I would like to invite Maximira and Ednelson. They are the ones that elaborate the operational points, and they are the ones that are going to speak on behalf of this project. Good morning, everyone. I asked to move seats because this is a more strategic seat. As Secretary Rodolfo said, we have followed up this project closely, and all of our actions are focused on reaching environmental regularization in the state of Pará, trying to focus on all audiences, the production sector, the small and medium out the rural registration so that we can reach our forest and environmental goals. We highlighted the state of Pará. 82% of the area, registrable area, is already registered. However, we have some registrations that still have to be inserted in our registration, like the traditional peoples and the native peoples. There are some gaps in the territory also related to the family workers, the family rural workers. We still need for them to be inserted.
Has been discussed and has been discussed since 2006, and it was implemented in 2008, and we had 50,000 registered, and it was concerning directly the environmental issues, but the environmental regulation was committed because you have the rural environmental registration as the first point to advance the regulation. So we brought here as a highlight the evolution of the analysis, and all the work streams were connected in this program of regularization in Pará, and the sustainable landscape is one of the projects helping us to advance farmers with the partnerships with Emater and the municipal secretariats. We had a study of our basis to define the different audiences. In 2019, we had an amount of new public servants that helped us to increase the number of registers, and the state of Pará is the only one with the qualification for the analysis of the rural environmental registration. So we had a great advance in two key municipalities with the actions of the Sustainable Landscape Program. Altamira and São Félix do Xingu are municipalities which were qualified ability to register, and many times they were only analyzing the register in the state secretariat, and many times it's easier for the municipality because they know the local actors and the land to have inspections and to detect different issues that are not able to be seen from this aerial inspection. So in the state of Pará, we have 56 municipalities that were trained for this registration. In 2018, we had an amount that was very small, and from 2020, with this new program, we started to study the database, changing the workflows, training the hundreds registers analyzed every month, and I highlight the importance of this register that is analyzed and finalized. I don't like the word validated, but it's very much work for a database that went to the end. What is the advantage? That registration among 280,000 registers and 120,000 ones analyzed, that registration that is finalized is a different database, because the Secretariat of Environment and the municipalities which were trained came to the end certifying the information, and this data this advance in the analysis of the rural environmental registration, we were able to get this experience of analysis. And this well-analyzed database is the next step for PRA. I have to speak slowly because I speak too fast. So now we're going to talk about the Environmental Regularization Program, PRA. We have a system, we have a platform called PRA, which is operating. We have 700 PRAs being performed, with the commitment being signed, and we have other analysis being performed in the Secretariat and the monitoring of data. Luis is going to talk about that, but I wanted to say that an analyzed and qualified database will provide with the diagnosis and so on. It's a database that is going to improve the quality of the environmental regularization program. And we have several partnerships in the Secretariat, Emater, Befoblio, ITEPA, the shared databases, the group work, and the task force that he's going to talk about. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk about the actions of ASL in the state of Pará. Here we have the ASL actions in 2 municipalities. So these municipalities are São Félix do Xingu and Altamira, and they are connected to one of the greatest conservation areas in the world, with 1,679,000 hectares, encompassing a mosaic of protected areas with federal, state, and indigenous land. That's why we had a complex scenario, and it's a very important region in terms of Amazon biodiversity and biodiversity in every sense. So it's a unit that is suffering pressure with deforestation. So here we had the actions from the state of registration and restoration. Without this database, that correct database, knowing if that property is complying with the environmental legislation, we have to understand if they have to recompose the coverage and so on. So all the studies are made with the register, and then we can take the next step, that is the environmental regulation program to improve the restoration. So APA is an important area for us, and we have this commitment to for properties, but we have to inspect them. In September and October, we had the last lots of the rural environmental registration. It has 2,500 properties. 2,000 ones were analyzed by the ASL project, and we hired 3,500s, and the 1,500s that are remaining is around the APA in order to protect this conservation unit. And today, all the properties of the APA are analyzed. And we had the second stage. The role of the Secretariat to analyze the registers was fulfilled, and the Secretariat is not able to advance without the answer of the landowner. So this is a mobilization action within the unit, within the APA, a very peculiar area because we have diversity, we have small farmers, family farmers, we have settlements, we have huge areas of farms, we have livestock, mineration, every type of activity. So all of them are responding this notification for us to advance. So this is a key step for the next steps. So you may see some pictures of this engagement, and we have the articulation of the civil society, other programs, and each one with regularization, and here we have the two main actions within the APA in the two municipalities concerning the environmental regulation and the actions to start the reforestation with the diagnosis of all the state units of conservation. And the first focus were in two units in Altamira and São Félix do Xingu. You may go back, please. Okay. So the diagnosis in all the state, and here you have the restoration using 42 seedling nurseries within the conservation unit and two demonstration units. So these are pictures of the plan of use. So we are hiring two management plans, and this is the implementation of the SAF area for family farmers. So this the picture of the fruits such as cocoa, the main activities, the elaboration of manuals for the guidelines for the maintenance of the nurseries. And we have the ongoing actions in 22 and 23 according to the the ASL purposes for this period. So we had 16,000 analysis, and we were able to correct 3,000 register from family farmers. We have the product of this analysis, and we are going to hire even more to correct them. So Emater alone is and we are going to implement 600 pradas of family farmers, and Emater is the main partner, and we are going to have cars, motorcycles, and we're going to elaborate the monitoring protocol. We have a meaningful number of commitment terms, but we are not able to inspect and monitor. So we are going to have this new protocol, and we're going to give continuity to the improvement actions for forest restoration. So here you may see the challenges, that is engaging the farmers and also the inputs and logistics. Pará is a huge state, so logistics is a great challenge, and we have to articulate all the actors called Regulariza Pará, that is Regularize Pará, improving the forest. We have the economy plan on forest project, and the Forest Plus project that is paid by the Ministry of Environment, the UNEP, and the Secretariat of Environment, and we are going to monitor the actions in the state. So it's a moment for great opportunities to advance this action. Thank you. Thank you, Luis, for your presentation. Congratulations to all the states. I'm going to mention that we have the presence of the Secretary of Biodiversity from the Ministry of the Environment. She contributed a lot for this process, which I will ask you to wrap up, and congratulations to all the states for the excellent work. Thank you. You really broke the protocol. I was in the audience and I was very moved. I think that the sustainable landscape for the Amazon, this program brought us this challenge to take action in the 4 states for Acre, for Amazonas, Acre and Pará. And we were able to see its execution from the strategies that were composed by Planaveg, complementing Praveg, and the promotion of this agenda at state level brought many challenges. Mauricio considering the 2 phases of ASL, so we are thinking about how to achieve the goals, how the states could prepare and organize in this agenda for recovering the natural vegetation in their states. So how could we have the proper environmental adjustments, structuring the chain of restoration from the seeds, the seedling, the active restoration, monitoring, so all the processes needed. And we thought we will only be able to do so if we join efforts. That's why we created this work group with the participation of all the states engaged, and we put all the analysts from the Ministry of with Planaveg implementation so that we could bring this knowledge that was constituted in the Ministry of the Environment, discussing with the key stakeholders in different states. And we were able to get better targets within this strategic plan for this agenda of recovery of native vegetation. This is a very important tool for the Ministry of Environment so that we can measure the applicability of Planaveg within the strategic axis. I think we were able to advance a lot. I'm very proud to talk about the recovery of the native vegetation by the Ministry of the Environment beyond the Sustainable Landscape Program, which is the to correctly execute these resources that is allocated for sustainable development, for the strengthening of the chains, for the connectivity of landscapes, for the recovery of native vegetation. And besides creating this recovery strategy and the guidelines within the strategic plannings in the state, the ministry decided to participate with the destination of resources according to the strategy that was developed. We have estimates of over 30 million reais to make possible this restoration with the sustainable landscape, and it's an integrated action. And besides the program of sustainable landscapes, I am very proud to say that we are ending the analysis of the Planaveg's actions since its creation. This is going to help the ministry to update Planaveg, and we are also announcing a work with IBAMA, ICMBio, and the Ministry of Environment to update the database, which will result at Trade Flora, a platform that is going to show the need of recovery in our biomes. And this initiative is being supported by the Sustainable Landscape in the Amazon. We've been advancing in other biomes such as Cerrado, Pampa, Pantanal, and the wetlands and the BNDES, the National Development Bank, with almost R$500 million for recovery.
I think the native vegetation can generate a lot of green jobs. We have the carbon component associated, and especially these 4 states that initiate this integrated movement of exchanging their knowledge with the resource for implementation can demonstrate that this instrument and the milestone of a legislation of PROVEG and a plan for the recovery can arrive in the state to advance their agenda. I think this is our work so far. I think our time is sure to record this moment.
Secretário, enfim, todas as pessoas que
Let's have the secretary and everybody who is directly related to the project.
Obrigado, pessoal.
Thank you very much.